Has the president's rhetoric, Senator, against the news media, including CNN, calling us the enemy of the American people, for example, fake news, has that stoked these violent tendencies, at least in some people?
Well, I think that that's obvious. I've been concerned about this for a long time. I spoke about it at length in the Senate starting in January about the president's rhetoric.
Let's remember, we have a president who has talked for a couple of years now about imprisoning his political rival in Hillary Clinton, who has encouraged violence against the media. Just last week, talking about the assault on a reporter by a congressman in Montana and saying that he's his kind of guy.
It's hard to see this outside of the context of the president's hostility towards Mrs. Clinton, who tried to briefly speak towards unity, towards Barack Obama, towards George Soros.
The president and his allies, they need to dial down the political rhetoric. They are making people less safe. They are making journalists less safe. And they are making law enforcement officers less safe.
Look, we don't know who did this. Right. We don't know what their motive was. Right. But it's a very obvious thread. And maybe it's meant as a ruse, but it's an obvious thread. The Obamas, the Clintons, John Brennan, CNN, George Soros. These are people and organizations that President Trump continually attacks, demonizes.
But if you look at who they've targeted so far, it's almost like they're following Donald Trump's Twitter feed. And starting with Debbie Wasserman Schultz,
But Jake, certainly one question for the president, one question for the White House. Is the rhetoric, the intense rhetoric that he has been saying and his supporters have been giving out over these last several weeks leading into the midterm elections, and certainly even before that, is that contributing to any of this?
I mean, there are all people that Donald Trump hates. They are all people that he has used violent, ugly, incendiary rhetoric against, whether it's journalists like CNN, where the John Brennan letter was addressed, or Hillary Clinton, from the lock-her-up chance.
Oh, and I was been texting with my former colleagues at CNN, and they're scared. And one former colleague said, "This is what happened when the president calls you the enemy of the people."
That's right.
And I thought, my gosh, the tone is coming from the top, and now CNN has become a target. Journalists that are simply trying to do their job.
Arabian, the multimedia marketplace.